One. Well, welcome everybody to VC Fast Pitch. My name is Scott Kelly. I am the founder and CEO of Black Dog Venture Partners and your host for today. Um, as I mentioned, if you can, just keep the chat lines free and open for now. Mute your mics because we got some great things to talk about today. So, as people start to come in from the waiting room, I'm just going to go over a few things. I'll go over my short little presentation here. Let me find it, and there it is. All right, if you can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. That would be great. All right, get my slideshow from the beginning. All right, all righty. Again, welcome to VC Fast Pitch. Couple things I want to go over. For any of you entrepreneurs here, we always allow anyone who comes to our event to get some good benefits and some good opportunities. We do have our startup funding toolkit, which has pitch deck templates, glossary of investment terms, all kinds of opportunities for discounted resources and access to all our webinars and pitch opportunities. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email to Scott@BlackDogVP. Got some great upcoming events. We will be live next Wednesday at Expert Dojo in Santa Monica for our Los Angeles Investors and Innovators event. Free event. If you're an investor, you're an innovator, you're in LA, you're in Santa Monica, come on in. Come on in. And then we have a webinar for one of our portfolio companies, Roboxy. They're going to be doing a short presentation in December, but we're going to have a more extensive webinar for them coming up the day after Expert Dojo. So we'll be live in person on Wednesday. We'll be live on the internet on Thursday. Two other events we have coming up. We'll be in Nashville, December 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. for our Nashville investors and innovators. So I have never been to Nashville. So if anyone's coming and anyone's been there, I want you to take me out and show me a good time because I have not been before and I want to have a great time in Nashville. And then we're back live here on Thursday, December 18th, our final VC Fast Pitch of the year. If you can mute your mics, that would be great. So those are some of our upcoming events. Let me get back to my screen here. All right, so here's our agenda for today. Obviously, I'm going through some of the opening remarks as we speak. I'm going to go through some of our investors. We have a number of investors that are going to be providing feedback. We have some who are just going to be listening in, but we'll get some feedback from our investors. And if you are an investor on our panel, if you could just put up the thumbs up in the screen so I know to call on you. And basically, we'll hear a little bit about them, and we'll learn a little bit more about what they want to hear in a pitch today. And then we've got some great companies presenting. They'll get 5 minutes apiece, followed by some Q&A. We got two great special presentations. I actually apologize for the typo there. It's presentations from Wefunder and Expert Dojo. And then we'll have an open Q&A session for everyone can ask questions and feedback of our investor panelists. And then what we do is we got a really, really bad typos. I must have had far too many cocktails when I did this. So after we finish the recording, we'll have some open networking. And this is where everyone's on the call can share a bit about themselves and have at it in the chat room. So that is our agenda. I am going to stop sharing my screen. And so basically what's going to happen now is if you are one of our investor panelists, I would like to call on you and just really briefly give me two things. One, tell me about yourself and your fund or your group, and then tell us about what you want to hear in presentations today. I know David Freeman's might be just listening in, but he hasn't been here for a while, so I'm going to call on him. David, are you there?
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to dip in and out, unfortunately. But yeah, it's great to see you, Scott. So I'm with TCA Venture Group. We consist of 4 member networks: TCA LA, TCA Orange County, TCA Inland Empire, Pasadena Angels, and we have 4 strategic affiliates: New Mexico Angels, Gulf South, Keiretsu SoCal, and Thai SoCal. We have a variety of different markets and different products. We have 3 funds. We're going to be
okay.
Fund 26 available to people within TCA itself and the venture group, as well as others. So if you're interested in a fund, contact me. I'll put my contact info in the section. What I'd like to hear is why you believe you're going to have a sustainable competitive advantage. I'd like to hear up front what's the ask, what's the valuation or the cap, so I can determine really if it's in line with what we invest in. But the biggest issues are leadership and product market fit and the execution plans. But I appreciate being here. It's always great to see you all.
Fantastic. Thanks, David. So June, you there, June?
Yep.
June,
Hi.
you know the drill. Tell us about yourself and tell us what you want to hear today.
Hi, everybody. My name is June Choi. I'm the managing partner of Serval Ventures and the managing director of MacMahon. And we are scaling a data-driven approach to venture investment. We have launched version 2 of our 20x investability assessment, which is on our our website. It is free for all startups and helps you understand your strengths and weaknesses, assesses your team, which every investor wants to know, and helps you become a better startup. So please go ahead and take it. You can also find links to it in my LinkedIn feed as well. I have a background in, change management, consulting. I also taught entrepreneurs. So I have a broad background with startups. What I tend to look for, and I mentor all across the world, is a lot of times startups say, if we only get 5% of a market, you know what? That it does not give me confidence about whether you can actually achieve in the market. And it doesn't matter the market size. We do want to see a giant market size, right, Tam? But we also want to understand, how are you going to get your SOM? How are you is your product going to evolve? How are your projections going to increase along with some key milestones? And so one of the things that I find missing in most decks is that I would like to see a robust roadmap slide. And I don't know why people don't do that. I will tell you, it gives me in a snapshot how investable and how excited I should be about you.
Fantastic. Thanks, June. Appreciate that. I'm scrolling through. If you are one of our investors, I think please either post in chat or raise your hand. So I'm scrolling vicariously through our deck here. Brian, I'm not sure you're there. Brian, Neer, I'll put you on the spot briefly. I know you wanted to listen in, but maybe just share a bit about yourself.
I'm here fully participating. Scott, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm Brian Neer. I'm the CIO of Neer Venture Partners. We're an early stage VC focused on fintech and emerging market fintech, although we do have a broad mandate. What I'm really looking to see today are 5 things. Clear and simple descriptions of what's the problem you're solving, what's the solution and why is it better, why are you the team, what is your actual traction, not expected, but actual traction, and what are you asking for, including the valuation estimate. That's it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Brian, for joining us. Angela, thanks for joining us. Why don't you share a bit about yourself and what you want to hear today?
Hi everyone, so Angela here. I'm managing partner of Energy Mix Ventures. We are a UK-based fund. I'm sitting here in the UK. You might hear the rain hammering off the window. It's raining here. Yeah, so we have a focus on energy tech and mobility tech, right? Super excited about what we call the quest for energy abundance. We're very excited by some of the things on the agenda for humanity in terms of space travel, artificial intelligence, all the big exciting things. But they are by their nature very energy hungry, right? So we want to back the companies that can bring the solutions the world needs to make that world possible. We go in early, pre-seed and seed stage. Check sizes range from 50K to 250K. So with that in mind, we're actually okay with opportunities that are pre-revenue, even pre-product. What we're really looking for, and what I'm really looking for today, is in the founder, the passion for what you're doing, the founder market fit, real clarity as to your why. Why are you bringing this solution to market? Fundamentally, who is the customer for what you're bringing? And then, yeah, what's your right to win? What's your edge? What's your angle? What makes you different? Why should we back you? Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. I love that comment, right to win. I love that comment. I I've heard it before from you, and I'm going to repeat it often. I appreciate that.
Thank
I
you.
know Justin Cohen. Justin, you there? Why don't you share about yourself, and then what do you want to hear from our companies today?
Hey, Scott. Thanks for the invite here. So yeah, Justin Cohen from Collinear Capital. I'm sorry that I'm late to join. I'm in Miami and hotel issues. I couldn't get into my room. Glad it wasn't too late. Collinear Capital, we focus, so we're Series A, Series B, check size 2 to 3 million or so. So obviously we don't lead. We have a very specific type of company that we're looking for. We're looking for enterprise B2B technology or SaaS companies that can work with the 25 largest tech integrators. So these are places like Accenture, Deloitte, KPMG, Cognizant, Infosys, EPAM, NTT Data, to partner with them. So if the company has a platform that has implementation component to it that could be used by these consulting companies to drive revenue for them at the same time driving revenue for you. That's the kind of company that we're looking for. We want to know things like your revenue, net revenue retention, and all that kind of stuff. Less focus on your, mission and why you as a person are a great person. We really want to see if it's a good fit for our kind of fund.
Fantastic. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate that. Pablo, I see you there. Pablo, are you there?
Morning, everyone. Morning, Scott. Thanks for inviting me back. My name is Pablo Grodnitsky. I'm the GP at Plus Ultra Capital Partners. We are a reasonably tech agnostic firm, but we are very stage specific. We are looking for companies who've got evidence of product market fit, who then we bring a lot of go-to-market expertise to accelerate them through the next stages. It's our belief that there are lots of very good products out there that could make it, but then just fail to get the the go-to-market fit traction that are necessary to succeed. And that's the value add we bring as an investor. We write checks at late seed of $2.5 to $5 million and at Series A of 10 to 10 plus. Right. Thank you.
Fantastic. What do you want to hear today, Pablo, from the companies presented?
I would love if people started with the why, right? What brought them here, right, to this point in their life versus 1,000 other things they could do to help understand the context. It helps understand what is their intrinsic motivation before we get to problem solution, TAM, SAM, all that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. I don't know did I miss any other investors? If not, if I miss them now, we can either post something in chat or do the raise hand, or we can get to you later in the day. I'll give us just a minute. I know we have some other investors listening in and some investors coming a bit later. So, all righty. Well, let's do this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw our presenting companies in order of presentation in chat for everybody. So, in just a minute, we're going to have Jeremy from Insyla, and then we have Scott and Menachem from Fortress Cyber, followed by Chris John at the Healthy Aging Company, then Josh from J3 and ForwardEHR, and then we got two great special presentations from Wefunder and Brian MacMahon, Expert Dojo. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to ask Jeremy to share his screen. All right, so we'll go in slideshow mode. You put that in slideshow mode, we should be good. And what I'm going to do, Jeremy, I'm going to count you down 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start my 5-minute timer on my phone. Don't start yet, not yet. And then look for chat. You're going to get a 30-second warning in chat. And at 5 minutes, I will find the most obnoxious way possible to get you to shut up. And then we'll have some Q&A from our investors after that. So, all right, Jeremy, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy. I'm the founder of Insyla. At Insyla, we've created a voice-first intelligence platform designed specifically for small and medium-sized businesses. We created a dedicated on-premise assistant that's entirely owned by the customer and for their business. That means they own their data, they own the insights derived from that data, and they get system tailored exactly to their needs. In other words, we're giving businesses their own customizable intelligence so that they can work smarter and create truly unique competitive advantages and insights for their business. The problem that we're solving here is that we're addressing today and tomorrow's AI. And what it runs on today is a tiny number of hyperscale data centers. These are $100 billion campuses that need enormous amounts of power and energy. A small group of companies now controls these models. They control the data and they control the grander economics of AI as we know them. Users are renting intelligence from other companies rather than relying on their own data to control these insights. That means that the costs, the latency, the outages, and other company things are all outside of the business's control, just as we experienced 2 weeks ago with the national headline of the AWS outages and events. Today's AI is centralized, expensive, and fragile, and the people actually doing the work don't own it. They don't really benefit from it that much. Insyla flips that model. What we're doing is we're putting AI inside of the businesses. We install a small on-site intelligence server, which provides the staff enables them to interact through a small and simple intuitive voice copilot. It plugs into the tools that they already use, such as their ERPs, their CRMs, and their POS systems, as well as SOPs and other internal business documents and checklists, so that they can just ask for what they need when they need the support. Because everything runs local, it's much faster than cloud AI and with millisecond response times. All of their data stays within the four walls of their business, it's offline, and even if the internet goes down, Insyla keeps working. In other words, every location becomes its own mini AI data center built for the people on the floor and within that business. Our pricing model is relatively simple and it's intentional. First, there's a one-time hardware and installation fee. And second, there's a monthly recurring subscription charge, starting at around $300 a month and scaling up depending on the size and the number of integrations that we expect. From there, we land and expand. More skills, more users, and more locations inside each group of customers. The ideal customer is small and mid-sized business with frontline staff, people who are constantly on the floor serving customers. What they all have in common is the same pain point. Their team needs fast, hands-free access to protocols, data, sales support while they're working, not sitting behind a desk. We've built a founding team that combines deep operational experience with top-tier AI engineering, along with other staff and support functions. As the founder, I've spent more than 15 years leading operations with more than $500 million in annual recurring revenue businesses. I've previously built and commercialized patented products into hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue, and I've raised capital from my previous ventures as well. Bushra, our head of ML and our CTO, has more than a decade of experience in machine learning as an engineer and a technical leader, and her expertise is turning research and prototypes into production-ready AI systems. Ramtin, our co-founder and chief AI engineer, has over 15 years of experience building large-scale software and AI platforms, previously architecting enterprise-grade AI and data platforms for global clients, and has the experience of how to design secure, compliant, and scalable AI infrastructure. Together, the three of us cover a full stack of needs to make Insyla work and build a defensible, scalable on-premise AI business. We have other staff and other support functions a part of the team as well, but this is the founding team. We're not just doing this on our own. We've also been empowered and supported by Tampa's venture ecosystem. With the Embark Collective and the ARC Innovation Center, we're active in the local investor circuit and have supportive advisors and executives from Merrill Lynch, Capital One, and FICO M&A departments to help guide capital strategy, KPI discipline, diligence, enterprise, go-to-market, and helping us drive pilots and expanding. Why now? The technology and the economics are at a convergence that makes all of this possible. And why us? The Insyla teams and products are unique to how AI is integrated and utilized in today's businesses. To execute this plan, we're looking to raise a $2.3 million seed round that roughly gives us 12 to 18 months of runway. The target MOI for a seed investor at this is assuming a modest Series A in 12 to 18 months from now at a 2.5 to 3x initial investment when converted into company equity and value during a Series A down the road. We have a whole roadmap lined out of all of those milestones that would get us from today to where we would be in 12 to 18 months and all of the expected revenues and projections that run along with that. So in close, and just in summation, Insyla is building an on-site AI layer for frontline small and medium-sized businesses. We're raising $2.3 million seed round over the next 60 days. And if this vision resonates with you, I'd love to set up a follow-up conversation and to go deeper into the
Alrighty.
tech, after we have product demos live, and go from there. Thanks so
Alrighty.
much.
Alrighty. Great job, Jeremy. If you are an investor panel, we'll start with investors first. If you have a question, actually, we got one in chat. You can either post it in chat or use the raised hand function. David, you want to ask the question? Can you share a specific case showing how my small business uses your stuff? So we'll start
Yeah,
with
I
that
don't
first.
understand it actually. I get parts of it, but I'm trying to understand what do you actually do for me versus what I currently do myself? Especially when you talk small business and ERP, that's like incongruous.
Yeah, so ERP systems and CRMs, all of these existing softwares and infrastructures, we're able to plug into those with API keys in the background to be able to just communicate to them. So rather than having to go back to your computer and put in a purchase order or purchase inventory, you can just talk to the system while you're on your warehouse floor or shop floor. This is for
So you're like a
employees.
controller and voice activated traffic cop. Basically, I talk to my interface and you're like middleware in a sense.
Yes, we sit on top of the existing infrastructure that's there today and make it all super user friendly for everyone in the company to use.
That makes it a little easier for me to understand what you do. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Brian. June, you got a question? Go ahead, June.
Sure. So this is both a hardware and software. Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
What I want to understand is, like, how much does it cost to develop your hardware? And how much does it cost the customer? And what is your margin?
Yeah, so the costs of the actual AI nodes that we're installing at these facilities ranges anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a piece, and we're selling them for anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, depending on the size and scale. So the target gross margin on those is around 40% for the hardware, is the idea. That's what the model is based on, is a 40% GP for the hardware as a component.
So the hardware is, so I'm trying to sort of imagine it, right? So is it literally a box that you install somewhere?
Yep. Yeah, it's a 16 by 16 by 16.
Manufacturing on the box happening?
Yeah, so we have a partner manufacturer in New Jersey by the name of Main Gear. They make accelerated computing devices, and inside of those, these are AMD CPUs and NVIDIA GPUs and all of the computing hardware that you need to power AI, right? And the cost of all those components assembled into this box is roughly $2,000 to $4,000 to be able to handle enough AI for a 250 employee company.
But they're still going to need like cloud storage if they want to use that, right?
No, it comes with enough storage and hardware to handle everything that they may need.
Okay.
It's all on site.
I'm gonna stop so Angela can ask her questions.
Thank you. Angela, you got a question? Go ahead.
Thanks, Jeremy. Really good presentation, perfectly executed. I have a question, which is my mind went to the cybersecurity angle, right? So I wonder, is there a specific consideration here around, in particular, voice, right? Bad actors spoofing the voice of a senior employee seeking to get access to data, etc. And are you guys handling that? Like, is that something that's part of your offer? Is that a specific area of focus?
Yeah, so these things can only be accessed on site and on location. So there is a geo perimeter, so that if there was a bad actor, they'd have to be physically in the building and emulating someone's voice to do that. But there is other protocols and sign-in requirements that allow, it'd be difficult to do it, but it's a security privacy concern there for sure that we can address.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Jeremy. You can unshare your screen now, and Jeremy, if you like, you can throw your contact information in chat. That would be great.
Will do.
All righty. And then next up, we have got Scott and Menachem from Force for Cyber. So we're going to hit the cybersecurity piece right now. So Menachem, you there? All righty. Once you put your... All righty. So Menachem, like I said, I'm going to count you down 3, 2, 1. Look for a 30-second warning in chat. Already, Menachem. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good afternoon. I am Menachem Tauman, the CEO of ForwardEHR Cyber. What if I told you there is a $2 trillion market where the people doing all the work aren't get paid properly, and that we are building infrastructure to fix that. That's exactly what Fortress does. We are enabling operating system that let MSSP and the entire cybersecurity channel instantly monetize security solutions without becoming security experts themselves. So here's the problem. There are over 150,000 managed cybersecurity globally, serving 2.1 trillion cybersecurity market. These MSSPs are doing the work, managing security, deploying tools, protecting clients, but they are leaving billions in recurrent revenue on the table. Why? Because the lack of monetization layer. Think about this. Amazon doesn't manufacture the products. They build the infrastructure to sell them at scale. Stripe does not provide the financial services. They build the payment trail. Salesforce does not do your sales. They enable you to do it better. This is Fortress. We are the monetization infrastructure for cybersecurity. Without it, the channels cannot scale. With it, they turn security complexity into instant recurrent revenue. So how does Fortress solve this? 3 easy steps. Ready, set, and sell. Ready. An MSSP, upload their logo, select from 20 plus top-tier security vendors, CrowdStrike, SentinelOne, Microsoft, you name it, or bring their own vendors. Setting the price, done. Set. We give them a plug-and-play, white labeling marketplace, multi-tenant, fully branded. Their clients see their brand, not ours. Launch takes minutes and not months. Sell. The client buys cybersecurity solution directly throughout the marketplace, automated deployment, automated billing, instant monetization. We are not selling security product. We are selling the ability to monetize security at scale. Think of us as Stripe Connect for cybersecurity. We are the revenue infrastructure that channel been missing. Let's talk about scale. This is not a niche play. We are talking about 2 trillion global security market with 150,000 MSSP and no unified monetization layer. The MSSP channel alone represent 475 billion in opportunity. And today, there's no platform designed to help them to capture that. That's our white space. From our product standpoint, we build what we call one UI to rule them all, a unified orchestration engine that connects 20 plus vendor API into a single pane of glass for security operations, compliance, and billing. And here's what is critical. Fortress does not compete with the vendor's tools. We connect and monetize them. We are an infrastructure and not a product. We enable the channel to sell what already managing, but now they can get paid for that. How do we make money? There is 3 revenue streams. 1, enabling OS licensing. Recurrent SaaS revenue from MSSP, MSP, and distributors. They range from 12 to 100 to 2,000K plus initially, depending on the volume and features. 2, revenue share on the marketplace throughout every security solution we sold throughout platform. We take a margin just like Stripe Connect. 3, premium OS modules, optional upgrades for advanced features. Our go-to-market as a built-in multiplier effect. Phase 1, we activate individual MSSPs and provide ROI at the partner level. Phase 2, we move upstream to the distributors companies like Pax8, Ingram, TD Synex. One distributor's relationship unlock thousands of MSSP instantly. Phase 3, exponential scale. Distributions become force multipliers. This is how we get from millions to hundreds of millions in ARR. So which brings me to why we are here. We are raising $5 million at 10 to 15 million, pre-money valuation. This is a preferred equity with the standard seed terms. And we give up us in 18 to 20 months of runway. Here's what we will deliver. By 9 months, we will have 30 to 40 active MSSP customers generating 1.5 million ARR plus. By month 18, we will scaling exponentially throughout the distributors. This is the capital efficiency revenue infrastructure play, and the channel is desperate for it. Activate, deploy, monetize. This is Fortress Cyber channel-enabled OS to instantly monetize cybersecurity. We'll have to continue this conversation. Thank you.
All right, great job, Menachem. Awesome. Justin, you got a question? Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. Thanks, Menachem. A quick question for you. I just want to, well, 2 questions. One is, I want to clarify and make sure I understand. Your target customer is an MSP that wants to provide comprehensive cybersecurity options for their customers. Is that correct? Let's start there.
Scott, can you answer that question?
Yeah, hi Justin, this is Scott. How you doing? Yeah, the answer is not only are we going to enable MSPs to sell security solutions, but multiple security solutions. A lot of times the MSPs aren't large enough to get all the certs that they need in order to offer 20 different solutions, where with us, with our platform, they're able to do that. They're able to sell directly to their end customers, small to medium-sized businesses. So we're not only enabling the MSPs, the MSSPs, but also the resellers and the distributor models.
Yeah. I got that. So you're providing MSPs and others, right, the ability to plug in a variety, and they get resale, all that kind of stuff, of a bunch of cybersecurity solutions. And I want to make sure that I understand this. Is there essentially, are you just the infrastructure of doing that, or are you providing some sort of value add in terms of access to the infrastructure and interfacing with these different cybersecurity solutions? Or is it really just more like a marketplace, pure marketplace where people go click and you handle all the payment, which there's value in. I'm not devaluing it. I'm just saying I want to understand exactly what it is you're doing.
No. So great question. And not only are we the enablement layer for the basically ready, set, sell component, but no, we are interacting with those security solutions. That's part of what the Merlin AI does. Basically looking at those and offering up different ways to enhance their cybersecurity, different solutions, optimizing their security platforms. That's the additional layer that we have within the platform. To kind of take you back for a second to help answer the question, Justin, is Menachem and the team over in Israel are cybersecurity experts. They have spent $5 million of their own money developing the platform, working with design partners, making sure there was product market fit. And the additional layer that they got pulled to end up being a little bit more capital efficient, more revenue revenue access for them through the MSPs and the distributors, is during those design partners and just developing the solutions, deploying those solutions, enhancing and optimizing cybersecurity for their customers. They kept getting pulled into, how do we manage? How do we deploy? How do we monetize? Are you able to construct those different agreements with all the cybersecurity players?
Okay. All right. I think let's focus on the questions. This is not extra pitch time.
Okay.
So a last question is just I don't think I heard what's your exact current ARR. I heard predictions, but I didn't catch what's your current revenue.
There's no current revenue. Our design partners were doing about 450K in terms of revenue, but we shifted and pivoted away from just doing the cybersecurity solution for those customers in Israel and now doing the go-to-market, the enablement OS for the US market.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Great job, Scott. Menachem, you can throw your contact information in chat. That would be great. And you can unshare your screen. And then next
Scott, can I just say something? I don't know if we're just
jump in.
supposed to only ask questions, but I gotta say, I've been looking at cyber for a while. It would be something I'm interested in, but your deck is too dense and you talk fast, you talk too much, right? So it was hard to really get what I needed, and I really appreciated I'm spacing the name because I can't see it. Justin's questions, because it really helped me to better understand what I wasn't understanding, right? And he asked questions to help me better understand, because monetizing cybersecurity, to me, that doesn't make sense. You know, monetizing cybersecurity seems like it makes it more less defensible, right? Less secure. Because whenever money's involved, you know, there's going to be bad actors. It's going to attract bad actors, right? So I would really appreciate if you could figure out how to distill your deck a little bit more. It would help me to understand it better and figure out where I want to engage. Because
thanks, June.
Is a big interest.
Thanks for that, June. Just for the sake of time, why don't we table those great recommendations and advice towards the end, if you don't mind. But thank you for that, June. So again, if we can have Christian, can you share your screen?
Sure. Uh,
And then we can have Fortress
no,
unshare
it
their
says
screen.
that somebody else is sharing. Yes.
Yep, there we go. You should be good now.
Yeah. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, okay. Yes, I can. I'll catch you down. Look for 30 seconds in chat. 3,
Uh-huh.
2, 1, go.
Good afternoon. I'm Christian Brechot, chairman and founder of the Healthy Aging Company, now focused on diabetic neuropathy and cognitive disorders. We are based in the University of South Florida and also in France. We are raising 5 million. We already got 500K. We have 1 to 2 million pending. By the way, they would be happy to chat with anybody interested. Our exit strategy is for 2029 through licensing or acquisition by a pharma after a first clinical phase 1-2A. Okay, it doesn't move. My slide is not moving.
Okay, I'm not sure what to say, Christian. Maybe you can kind of talk through it.
Yeah. So the problem, we all know that diabetes is a huge problem. We also know that neurological complications on the left, diabetic peripheral neuropathy, very frequent, no treatment, terrible disease. On the right, cognitive disorders, Alzheimer, frequently associated to resistance to insulin, and also to diabetes. And of course, this is a huge market. Our solution, a new recombinant protein with a completely novel mechanism of action, anti-oxidative, directly scavenging the reactive oxygen species. Main point, directly targets resistance to insulin, which is a key driver to diabetes and neurodegenerative disorders. But what makes this molecule unique is a combination to the anti-inflammatory effect, metabolic effect on fat mass and triglycerides, improvement of muscle function, promotion of tissue repair and healing. And our project is based on preclinical data, excellent, on the treatment on diabetic peripheral neuropathy and cognitive disorders. Now, focus on the right part of the slide for the sake of time. ALF 5755, this is our product. We all know that the GLP-1 agonists, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbound, and so on, are major progress for diabetes. However, our product, we see it as complementary. We are not competing with GLP-1. This is an important point, complementary. Our product restores sensitivity to insulin, which GLP-1 agonist doesn't do directly. Restore muscular function, which can be harmed by some GLP-1 agonists. Significantly improve neuronal function and diabetic neuropathy. GLP-1 agonists are not doing anything on this. Significant therapeutic effect on cognitive disorders, including Alzheimer, and there is no therapeutic benefits of GLP-1. Alzheimer, we all know that the new monoclonal antibodies have provided limited efficacy, but to the expense of very significant side effects. Again, our molecule offers a complementary mechanism, not targeting amyloid, but oxidative stress and mitochondria. How are we going to do that? We have a great team. On the left, myself, I'm presently professor at the University of South Florida, former president of Pasteur Institute, of the French NIH, and vice president of company, very much involved in patents and biotech. Gilles Amouyal and Paul Amouyal are both MD and very successful entrepreneurs, including in biotech. And Christophe Magnan is a highly renowned scientist. We have great scientists in the team, including Aurélie Joly-Amado, who is with us today. We have advisor for development, great scientific boards in the US and in Europe. Now, this is, of course, the important slide. We have a clear path to success. On the left, and very important, we already had previously first phase 1 and phase 2 clinical studies, which established safety in humans and provided a hint to efficacy in some patients with acute liver failure. So we know how to do the GMP, the INDs, and so on. Now, we already had a pre-IND meeting. The 5 million, we exactly know how to use it, and we will go to the IND. This will be, which will overhaul, I would say, the positioning of the company, allow us to get the subsequent money to run a phase 1B, 2A. And very important to understand that not only now in 1 year or 18 months you can generate safety, but you have now biomarkers, for example, for studies on Alzheimer, where you can really get a hint on the efficacy. And hence, 2029, we will go for partnerships or acquisition by a pharma. The healthy aging company does not intend to run phase 2, phase 3. We are there to demonstrate the value of the molecule and then partner or be acquired. So to summarize, well, this is an early project. We appreciate it. However, one, it is clinically tested, which is very rare for biotech. We know safety in human. Two, we have really a first-in-class drug candidate, which is really novel. Three, great team. Four, of course, huge market. And five, and of course, available for due diligence, all the necessary portfolio, including a very solid IP. Thank you.
Right. Very good. Thanks, Christian. So if you have a question, you can either post it in chat, raise your hand. June, go ahead, June.
Okay, so first, is this product, you're only in clinical trials, but how soon will it go to market?
No, that would be great. We are still, as I showed you, we are really moving from the preclinical to the first clinical phase. Okay?
Okay.
That's really where we position. You see, phase 1, 2A.
So
But what I meant,
yeah.
sorry.
When will it get to market? Give me a rough.
To market, I would say, to be really honest, 7 years, something like that, 7, 8 years. The time, okay, because 2029 we go for a partnership for a company. Okay, they run.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I was just trying to figure out where in the process you were. My question to you is, you know, you start off saying this is all about anti-aging, but diabetes alone is not one of the biggest issues, not the only biggest issue, right? Cognitive issues, yes, but really what caught my eye was your anti-inflammatory. If it really is a truly effective anti-inflammatory, 7 years is a long time to market, and even for investors these days, right? So I'm wondering if there might be ways to develop the anti-inflammatory aspects, especially starting perhaps with the pet market. Have you thought about any of that?
Well, that's a very good point. First, again, you were speaking of the time to market, which is long, of course, but the return on investment for us in this company is 2029. It's not in 7 years, because we really believe that after a phase 1 where we will have shown safety and some hints to efficacy, we will be in partnership with pharma, and actually we will be acquired when you look at the way it goes. So time to market is long. You have many examples presently of Novo Nordisk or others acquiring. Now, regarding the anti-inflammatory, your point is well taken. And this is also what was at stake with the liver. I don't have time to answer in detail. If you are interested, we can discuss what we can leverage with the anti-inflammatory, because I agree with you, it's a very important feature of our molecule.
Great, thank you for that, June. Angela, you got a question? Go ahead, Angela.
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to check in. So because you've started with the focus on healthy aging specifically, and then made the link with diabetes, I just thinking ahead to when, let's say 7, 9, 10 years from now, let's say this product was on the market. Help me understand what's it envisaged? When would it be taken by a patient? Is this something that's taken as they get older and they start showing symptoms around cognitive or related areas? Or is this more of a preventative thing? If someone has diabetes, even when you're younger, you're taking it already. How does that work?
Yeah, well, first, why do we call this the healthy aging company? I could not present this because actually we have a lot of data in animals which show that our molecule does not expand the lifetime, but when the animals get older, they are in very good shape. You see, and hence the name. Okay, now the healthy aging company, you cannot build a company only on this. You need to focus on some indications, and hence the diabetic, neuropathy, and Alzheimer. Now, to your point, that would be taken in a preventive way, initially in diabetic patients or patients with pre-diabetes. So there will be a prevention. There will be, of course, an early treatment, for example, for early signs of Alzheimer, but there will be a prevention. And I think, but it will take time, but I think that in the future, this molecule, which is safe, will be taken in the context of the healthy aging in a prevention, you see. But we have to demonstrate our case in some clinical indications first.
Right. While we do this, Christian, great presentation. You can get through your contact information in chat. That'll be great.
Sure.
And then next up, we have got Josh from J3 ForwardEHR. Josh,
Hey.
you there?
I am here. Thank you,
All right.
Scott.
All right,
Hi,
hold
everybody.
on one sec. Hold on. All
Ready to
right,
go.
I'm gonna count you down 3, 2, 1, then you'll go. 30-second warning in chat. 3, 2, 1, go.
How you doing? My name is Josh Fertel. I'm the owner, founder of J3 Medical Billing. We are a revenue cycle management company. In other words, we handle the transactions from a medical office to the insurance companies to make sure that they get paid quickly and exactly what they're supposed to be done. I spent 30 some odd years in the car business, started J3 in 2021. So we're a 4-year-old company. We have been profitable from day one. We're forecasting $1 million in revenue over in 2026, and we are about 35% earnings. Our mission is to create clarity to providers. If you're familiar with an EHR, they are designed to do basically 3 things. Patient information, make it easy for insurance company, make it easy for a billing company. One thing they do not do is make it easy for the provider or the business, the practice owner. And the pain points that we've found, cash flow is always a big burden, receivables are a burden, rejections from payers. The burden of finding necessary information in the EHR, and that is the one that I want to concentrate on. So if EHRs are made just for the patient to submit claims, it makes it very hard for the practice to monitor their finances. And so that's where our idea is. We're going to create ForwardEHR as an extension of J3. And it's going to be our flagship platform. And what it's going to do is it's going to highlight the financial data to the practice owner. So problem receivables, account balances, patient payments that are expected to come in, verification of benefits, prior approvals, all these things will be on a home screen, nice and easy, one click away from getting the information they need. So they're not digging through reports and going through all the mess of having to ask for questions to find out how to run their business. If you deal with medical professionals, they're not trained to be doctors. They're not trained to be business people. They're trained to teach us to help people. And that's where Forward is going to come in. Unlike legacy EHRs, we're not burying reports. We're making the data very upfront, business forward. Our opportunity is $100 billion medical, just in medical billing. 50% of providers are unhappy with their current EHRs just because of complexity. And billing and cash flow, of course, are the #1 pain points for 70% of the practices. And it's just a ripe market for destruction. Medical field, of course, $100 billion in medical billing. We believe our serviceable market is $150 million. Competitor landscape. Athena has really proven the model that we're trying to do, and that is to have a low cost monthly subscription and to make our revenue on the billing side. So we are going to charge 5% of what collect for billing. We will include the merchant processing, and we will have ads on the home screen, all to monetize that's our goal. That's our strategy. That's how we're going to monetize. Initial investment is going to be focused on technology. Then we're going to talk about revenue growth, and our strategic acquisitions are going to come once we have a revenue plan. We're going to, our go-to-market's going to be collaborating with medical associations, practice consultants, tap into our network where we have thousands and thousands of providers that we're connected with. Frictionless onboarding when they switch from their old EHR to our EHR, and then we're going to have a targeted digital marketing. We expect with the roll-up, our billing volume now is 1 million to 5 million annually for our providers, and we get 5% of that. We are at 35% earnings now. If we didn't change anything, we're projecting 1.1 million if we didn't even do what we're saying here. Our 5-year pro forma, again, 1.2 is what I have is our year 1, scaling up in year 5 of $8.25 million in revenue. Plus 300 for merchant processing, 165,000 advertising, healthy earnings, makes us very good for an exit opportunity in the next 3, 4, 5 years. These are the bigger players, Epic, Cerner, Tebra. We expect if we get to that kind of earnings that we would be getting a phone call from them to look once we have roll up with more data and more users. $2 million is what we're looking for. I will say to you that luckily, and Scott could say that we might have the technology might be taken care of here in the next couple of days. So then we'll be looking for another $1 million just for marketing to go to market. Digital marketing, sales development, and onboarding system and general administration. That's what the $1 million, based on a 10 million valuation. And that's what we're doing. Our goal is to lead the market in financial clarity, make it easier for providers to run their businesses.
Fantastic. Great job. Great job. Justin, you got a question? Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Very quickly, I wanted to make sure that I understood the corporate model. So is ForwardEHR a separate corporate entity
No.
from J3? Or okay, it's just a product.
One company.
Okay. All right. So the investment is in the overall company.
Yes, sir.
With the earnings. And then the last question for me is, I assume you're targeting sort of SMB providers, is that correct? Rather than large health systems.
You know, can we get a hospital? That's probably not going to happen, and they're going to stick with Epic, just realistically. But yes, you know, 5, 10, 15, $20 million annual revenue practices, we can handle those, no problem.
Great. Thank you very much. Those are all my questions. Scott, thank you for having me. I have to drop for a 2 o'clock call, but this was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Justin. So, and obviously, Josh, you can make note of June's message in chat. Do we have any other questions for Josh? Alrighty. So, Josh, once you do this, why don't you put your contact information in chat? And I know at the very least, June would like to have a follow-up with you. So that's a win. Thank you, me. Awesome. So now we're going to pivot.
I think you're reading the wrong thing.
Oh,
yeah, that was
thing. Okay.
My apologies. Oh, okay. That was for Christian. Again, my apologies. Thank you. I'll just leave the chat speak for itself from now on. Thank you, June, for that clarification. So, all righty. So we're going to take a little pivot for today. You know, we've had a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, talk to me about other ways to raise capital outside the traditional angel venture capital market. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring on Justin Renfro from Wefunder, and he's going to talk a little bit about how your customers can be your investors. And then we're going to have a real world example of that with my good friend Brian from Expert Dojo. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give the helm to Justin to share a little bit about Wefunder and how you can convert your customers into investors. Go ahead, Justin.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Scott. I've been with Wefunder for 7 years, and I've been helping founders raise community capital for 15. I started a nonprofit called Kiva that did crowdfunded 0% interest loans. And for the past 7 years, I've been helping founders successfully raise capital from their community. In most cases, founders are talking to angels, talking to VCs, and there's an explicit benefit there. The expertise, the connections, the experience that can go along with an investment. I think there's a lot of value there. With Wefunder, the aspiration is to cast a much wider net and get lots of people to participate. The average company on Wefunder has 350 investors. And when I think about kind of the merits and the value of having 350 people on average participate as investors, those are partners in your business. They're invested in your success. They can help with hiring, they can help with marketing. It's a good way to kind of like pull in lots of people. So if you were to look at like a CPG company, the value is kind of direct, where it's like, hey, if you can get your customers to invest, they'll buy more product, they'll talk about it more. There's kind of demonstrated value in having lots of your customers participate in your company. But more and more, our biggest vertical in 2025 has been like health tech, clean tech, lots of activity in AI. And I think that what I'm seeing from those founders is having their industry connections participate, having more people around the orbit of the business, people that they're talking to in an organic business development sense, participate. And I think that there's a really clean, it's a clean additive channel. So you can be raising from angels and VCs, 25K plus checks going in through Reg D, but you can also have this parallel track of a community round that's on the same terms. We have a special purpose vehicle for all of those investors. It's very, very clean from a legal and administrative perspective, broadening the scope. Wefunder allowing for public solicitation, meaning you can kind of talk about your raise in the public domain, as well as allowing for unaccredited investors to participate. So we're a public benefit corporation. We kind of built our technology on top of the Jobs Act that came out in 2018, allowing for unaccredited investors to participate in private investments into private companies. And over the past 10 years, we facilitated over $1 billion in these micro transactions, the average investment being $1,000, having lots of people participate. We have a investor base of over 1 million people that have participated as investors into companies that raise on Wefunder. So I'm super passionate about the concept of community raising. I'm really stoked to have Brian here to talk about his upcoming raise with Expert Dojo. We've been friends for a long time, and in a lot of my conversations with Brian, it's like Expert Dojo is trying to build a community. There's a big vision, and he's trying to pull in as many people to participate alongside him. The benefits of that are not just the capital. It's feeling connected to a community of people that are aligned and partners in the business. I really believe and see the value in that. I think our founders really, they come to Wefunder because they want an additive layer of capital raising. They leave Wefunder feeling like they have a tribe and a community of people that are kind of doing this with them. I think being a founder can be really lonely, and having hundreds of people kind of align alongside you is really, really powerful. So I'll hand it off to Brian. I think it's more interesting and unique to see Wefunder, kind of firsthand. And
well, Justin, you said all the nice things about Brian, so you left nothing for me. So what I'll ask you to do before we introduce Brian is just if anyone's interested in getting in contact with Justin, learning more about setting up a campaign on Wefunder, Justin, why don't you throw your contact information in chat? And yeah, as Justin mentioned, Brian has been a huge supporter of entrepreneurs for many, many years, 300 plus investments. And it's interesting when the Jobs Act first came out, I remember a lot of venture capital funds and angel groups just kind of looking at it, with a weird eye, not really giving it the legitimacy it's now come to deserve and earn. And now we get to see it come full circle. We get to see a real opportunity for the one of the more significant venture capital firms in this country go out and get the community involved. And with that, like I said, I got nothing else nice to say about Brian, so I'll just introduce Brian and say, Brian, share us about what you're doing with Wefunder and Expert Dojo. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, buddy. I mean, everybody here has seen me before. You know how I feel about Scott and Black Dog and what they're doing, and it's very similar with Justin. We go back to the very beginning. There are many crowdfunding platforms that I could use to do this, and I would never think of ever doing another one other than Wefunder, because these guys are just awesome. I also, just before, I want to run through a deck which will just go through a sequence of why we're doing this. If you're a venture capitalist, this should be interesting, I hope, because we're making a statement that we're never going to look for LP capital, period. We want to do everything inside Expert Dojo, and I'm not sure that's really been done before. And we're also making a statement about what's happening with startup and startup growth. And I just want to give a quick comparison of doing this just before I jump in. And that's that rather than saying that venture capitalism is broken, like it's not. It would be like saying the high street is broken, our politics are broken. It's not that they're broken, they've just evolved. And it's how quickly we keep up with that evolution. So even if we take the New York election, which for mayor, which happened quite recently, leaving aside like whether we like him or don't like him or anything else, the political campaign that he ran was one of the greatest political campaigns of all time, and it was based on galvanizing the community. He had 40,000 people knocking on doors, while all of the other folks that were looking to be mayor were doing what you normally do being mayor, spending an awful lot of money. So community didn't just beat the incumbents, they destroyed the incumbents. And the message, it could be argued, with a far inferior message. And then if we go into the high street and what's happening in the high street, it's exactly the same. If we try and do it exactly the same way as it was before, then shops will just continue to get destroyed. And we look at people like Kim Kardashian, who've launched Skims and have become a multi-billion-dollar company in a tiny period of time by galvanizing the community. And then they layer back into the high street as well. I believe it's time for venture to do exactly the same thing. And again, in exactly the same way, venture is not broken. Venture just needs to evolve to a whole different world. So those who know me or those who don't know me, I founded Expert Dojo as a growth hacking company around 10 years or so ago. And we turned it into an investment company about 7 years ago. At that time, if you had said to me, Brian, what are you? I would have said I'm a venture capitalist. If you ask me today, what am I would say I'm the owner of a private index firm which specializes in alternative assets and emerging assets, which is a very different thing. Our goal is very simple. It's very similar to a startup. We know what our AUM is right now, our assets under management. We know how much money that we have investment. We know how it's trending, and we know what the market will pay for that. And so we're very specific. We're done in 2030, and we want out at a $500 million valuation. And I'll explain how that works afterwards. First investment went in, crikey, when we took our first investment in, and that means investment in Expert Dojo as opposed to investment outside. We never took outside LP money. It was always done through my family office partner, all 30 million that we put in. And so since we've taken that first investment in 7 years ago, our investments have grown up every single year to where it is today at 90 million based on the last valuation that we've received money on, at an average of 36.9%. Now, if I just go through just on a very basic level, we have some companies that are doing very well, other companies that are coming through, and I'm going to run through these in the deck. And in homage to June, I'm going to run through what our roadmap looks like in 2026, 27, 28, 29, and 30. These are just some examples of companies that have either sold or haven't sold, or they've done extremely well based on their AUM growing, and that AUM being extremely valuable based on something. There's tons we could put in there, K2 and everybody else, but this is my favorite. Warren Buffett, what he built in Berkshire Hathaway is maybe the greatest private index fund, even though he wouldn't call it that. But it was an accumulation of assets, of which some were just asset bearing and others were revenue bearing. And he built up his organization with assets stacked on top of assets, but without needing to sell. And we can obviously see where he's gone to. Our strategy was very basic at the beginning. We believe in the Y Combinator strategy of buying very inexpensively. And we then brought in public market vehicles like warrants, which have been hugely valuable to us, which gave us the ability to hold on to a certain price within a long-term period of time. And we've exercised those warrants and we've done extremely well from it. And I'll give you a little bit of a feel for that afterwards. And then we layered in incubation, and then we layered in private equity on top of that, where we form a type of expendables and fly off to an island with an evil dictator and then save everybody on that island. And the idea is we have all of our companies from the very beginning to the very end. It's almost Disney for how venture capitalists maybe will work in the future. And so this really is my slide, which is aimed at all angels of people who don't invest a lot. Anyone who thinks they can just find a unicorn and do it, it's extremely difficult. And it's become way more difficult in this market that it takes 10 to 15 years to come out with an exit. And so you don't need to invest in 300 companies, but you need to be investing in a lot of companies to be able to make sure that the economies of scale. David Freeman is a great friend of mine. And I've often heard David talk like, you ain't playing the game until you're 20, 30, 40 investments that actually come into it. These are many of the investments which at the beginning I thought they were the most incredible investments we ever saw, like Chelsea at Shipley. We'll always break through. She'd written there, but she didn't. Or Renee, who are going to be one of the greatest health providers in the world. Everything can be achieved. Well, that wasn't. Or Christian and TradeStars. Well, it was never done. And so in any portfolio that you're going to build through, there are going to be ones that you do. This is why we only buy at the accelerator price of $1.4 million for companies, because we don't want to be great at diligence. We want to be able to tell what the best likelihood of success is, buy in very inexpensively, and then have warrants that we can step in after a 3-year period so we can really make the wins. And so we have plenty of companies like that in cautionary tail. I also think on the other side of it, there's a real problem with LP returns. And we're all facing this problem. Like for us to try and bring in LP money outside, it's challenging because even, on Jay Cal's podcast, the All In podcast, he talked about now 12, 15-year returns. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that needs to be spoken to right now. And so our belief is rather than go for fund 1, fund 2, fund 3, fund 4, fund 5, wouldn't it be awesome if we just used the AUM that we had already built inside the dojo and then actually took that additional equity, then took all of the LP and GP share of that equity, put it into companies ourselves, use that to boost the value of the AUM and the value, and then do the same thing the following year and the following year and the following year. And that will, in effect, give away control of ownership of Expert Dojo to the crowd. Our other feeling is, on the same level as how Mandami did it in New York, if we can build up to 100,000 owners of Expert Dojo, even if people only have $100 worth of stock, you would be blown away by what can happen with that. And we saw it over the last 2 weeks with one of our companies, Matchbook, literally got $4.4 million of pipeline, which I believe will close this year, all from people who own $100 or $150 of Expert Dojo. So this isn't just about, we invest in the dojo and it's a better investment. This is about how do we change the way marketing is done so that our companies can break through faster and we have people feeling ownership for those companies rather than just mentorship. And this is also interesting from how we measure the companies. We measure everybody based on a future IRR. The future IRR is based on time to next valuation, increase to next valuation, how their speed of growth has been over the last couple of years versus 200% growth, how their speed of growth is in the current year and upcoming. And then there's lots of other areas in here. The important piece is that future adjusted IRR score is equal for everybody. So it allows us to do this. It allows us to take all of our companies and allocate a number to those companies. So the game changes from just raising money to actually raising customers and being able to build. And then we can reach into the community based on segmented skills and ability and access, and then have those actually become this army for the companies themselves. Very quickly run through what we're going to do 2026 to 2030, because we're upgrading in a monster way. First of all, the private equity companies that we've doubled down on, like Matchbook, we are protecting those puppies like you've never seen before. And I'll share, if anybody wants to join a Matchbook update, you'll see what we've done in a 3-month on this company to actually prepare it for a Series A within the next 4 or 5 months. I can't talk about the returns that will give us, but they're off the charts. We're also building a startup academy. If you want to think of YC School, it's very similar. Comprehensive audits. Every single company gets audited, and that's a sales audit on a quarterly basis. India is the reason why we're going to get sold. We'll have between 300 and 500 investments in India before 2030, which will make any private equity firm who's in the US who wants to break into India desperately want to deal with us. And that's leaving aside the warrants that we'll also have in place, with all of those companies. I mentioned the 100,000 experts who will be our owners, and we'll also have a decentralized diligence, which again, I can dig into if anybody would like to talk about it. Okay, so this is where we go to. This is June's slide. Now, it's actually not one slide. It's going to be a number of slides. So I'm going to run through 26, 27, 28, 29, and I'm going to do that in a second. Before I do that, I just want to show you a few of our companies. Myself and Brian Neer have the great pleasure of being co-owners in the first company that we have here. This company is on fire. They just raised at $120 million. We have a very strong stake in that company. We have a number of companies here. This is what we call a Be Rich score, which is return in constricted horizon. So what we expect to get in within the next 3 years. Again, I'd be very happy if anybody wants to have a discussion about any of these companies when we get off the call, but this adds up to about $200 million. And remember, we only put 20 something million dollars, 27, $28 million into the companies in the first place. So current AUM. So when you look at 2026 and say, what's the potential of hitting the 150 AUM that you want to get to in 2026? We have it nicely lined up with the companies that we can see that are breaking through. A number of, actually in here, I haven't put down how we're going to sell them, but we have like 2 IPOs which are lined up, 1 acquisition which is already in the tubes, and then a bunch of other companies which are sitting very nicely at like 40+ million outcomes for ourselves. Okay, 2027 path to AUM. So we're going to raise $10 million. 2026, we're going to hit very hard on the Indian cohorts. We're building a co-GP with India, where we'll have 50-50 on both the investments and also the things. We don't need to raise any money from LPs. They'll do all that themselves. We become like McDonald's, and we just give the entire program for them to use, for them to be able to use. We're then going to raise 10 million against that 90 million inside the dojo. We deploy our own money, which means that we start moving from 20% GP up to 35% of GP over the following 3 years. Depending on how successful we are, it could even be higher than that, but it's a nicely conservative way to be able to make sure that we can invest into the companies that are doing very well. 2028, we decentralize all GP ownership. We'll have probably 20 to 25 mini funds over in India. If you want to think how it'll work, it'll be like Survivor the Island, and people will get voted off based on how well they do with their funds. The nice thing about this, as far as like small funds, it means they hit hacker houses, they hit accelerators, they hit early stage companies coming out of places like IIT. But it also means they got to fight, because we're playing the Jack Welch game of the bottom X% will get kicked out every single time, and only the others will get re-ups on the LP stake. And that will again grow us up on the AUM. 2029 and 2030, it's going to bring us from 300 million to 500 million. As you can see, the percentages each year are exactly in line with the percentages that we've done over the past 10 years. We've grown it in exactly the same way. We're not doing anything more than we've done before. We built up our AUM from the beginning to where it is right now. We have 200 million lined up, which means 26 and 27 is nicely already placed to be able to hit the 150 and the 200 that we're going to be able to get to. And this is how we believe that venture will turn into in the future. It won't be one fund, another fund, another fund, another fund. It will all be about building up massive asset value. And finally, just running through how this works. Not only will somebody get the outcome at the end based on the increase of what we believe is going to be a 90 million valuation to where we want to go to with that 500 million valuation, but also any exits that we're getting in the meantime based on ownership of Expert Dojo, there will be deployment on those exits. And they're not just new companies, they're also all of the previous companies that we've had as well. So everybody comes in for everything we've ever had. I got asked yesterday, why would I want to give away, 50% or 30% of the dojo? I've already given away 20%, but why would I want to give away the rest of it? Because there's plenty of money to go around, and because the power of having 100,000 people in the community being the GPs of sorts of the company, whereby the people that are actually coming in outside, in Wefunder, we don't do deployments on carry, just to be clear, but outside Wefunder, we can do. And so those two things combined means that people can actually start to not just build wealth, but they feel an ownership of something as they're breaking through. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to take the warrants that are going to be coming through, and we're going to give that to the community, not to people in Sequoia, not to people in Lightspeed, but to the community who own Expert Dojo. So rather than us saying we're going to use that money to take a warrant where we get an 80% discount on the company, we're going to say, you're an investor and an owner in Expert Dojo, God bless you, here you go. We're going to do a special SPV, you guys can come in and you get access to the whole thing. And that is, it's just a fun slide to try and do it. And this is just what differentiates us: the warrants, the preferential access to the routes, the passive income, all of those types of things. And I just want to say, like, with one thing, me, if anybody knew me 3, 4, 5 years ago, I didn't talk like this. I just talked about, we want to help early stage founders be able to break through, and we want to do well out of it. And we want to show that we're a good venture capital firm holding what we do. Now that we've got to this place where we have 10 companies breaking through in a monster way, another 10 companies behind that in a very good way, we have a position of strength. And we want to use that position of strength to be able to take the next 4 or 5 years and maybe do what Gangels did within their community and do it within the early stage community. So thank you for listening. Justin, thank you for being such an awesome human being, because every step of the way, you have helped us level up and seen this vision of the future. And Scott, I would say the same thing for you many times over as well.
Fantastic. So Brian, if you can, either Brian or Justin, if you can, I know you have your campaign up on Wefunder. It'd be great if you threw that campaign link into chat. And what I'm going to do is, if you're an entrepreneur that would like to pitch at a future VC Fast Pitch event, here's the opportunity. Invest a minimum of $500 in the Expert Dojo Wefunder campaign, and you get a free entry into a future pitch opportunity at VC Fast Pitch, which includes pitch coaching and your company going out to my network of 10,000 plus investors. So I would encourage you to take advantage of that. We're going to wrap it up today because, quite frankly, I am getting repairs done in my home. I'm just going to be perfectly blunt with you. So, so for everyone who participated today, thank you. I'm going to throw a couple things in chat real quickly. If you want to learn more about Expert Dojo and Brian, I would encourage you all to visit my podcast, the Emerging Managers Podcast. And for any of the investors on this call who have not been on the podcast yet, I encourage you to reach out to me and be a guest. You'll find actually in today's edition, it is the India manager of Expert Dojo on the podcast. So you can give that a listen. I am also going to throw in chat, as I mentioned, our upcoming events. Bear with me 1 second. For some reason, I hit another button. Bear with me. Well, like I said, we've got a number of great events coming up starting next week in Los Angeles. I'm going to throw them into chat. You can look at them right there. Then lastly, if you want a startup toolkit or want to get in contact with me, you can send me an email to Scott@BlackDogVP. And again, I want to thank all our investor panelists for being on the call today, and congratulations to all our participating companies. And with that, as I always close out, if there's something you didn't like, tell me. If there's something you loved, tell the world. And with that, thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, everyone.